So my experience in Sweden has been very positive and it continues to be positive. But today in this video, I want to talk about 3 struggles I have actually since I moved here. And I feel this really applies to people who just moved here. So hopefully this will be not struggles which continue throughout the months and years. So I'm just making this video so other people can be aware of it. I don't know if Swedish people really struggle with this because, when you're born in Sweden, I don't think this is a big issue. But yeah, you can let me know if that is a struggle of yours as well. I'm here 7 weeks only and I'm documenting my journey moving and living in Sweden here on YouTube. And as I just mentioned, normally I'm very positive and I stay very positive and optimistic. But I would lie if everything is super duper all the time. There are some struggles and I'm talking about them today. So yeah, and always bear in mind, my journey is quite unique. Everything I say really is connected to who I am, where I come from, what I experience. So yeah, just bear that in mind when I talk about things like the struggles today. By the way, I still live in the Airbnb. So I'm moving in 2 weeks, so hopefully then my equipment will be a bit different, the background will be a bit different. So I'm really looking forward to that. So the first struggle I really want to talk about is about the bureaucracy here and the slow processes in Sweden. So first of all, I was really happy to be moving to Sweden in summertime. I thought that would be so much easier and so much more enjoyable. Unfortunately, the downside of it is that all the Swedish people are on holiday, and even maybe if Sweden has a slower process, it's even slower now. So a lot of people are on holiday, sometimes up to 5 weeks. Yes, there are some people working, so stuff is getting done, but very, very slowly. But on the other side as well, there is so much to sort out. I don't even think in Germany you have to do that. I'm obviously born in Germany, so there might be less bureaucracy, but Germany is very famous for its bureaucracy. But yeah, then I moved to Sweden and it's just mental, the documentation you have to provide. And I'm a EU citizen, so it doesn't make a huge difference really to be a EU citizen. And then my partner is a non-EU citizen now because he is from Britain. There are some other documentations you maybe have to provide, but also on the other side, he is employed, which makes things easier, you would think. But maybe I should also not be so super strict with Sweden because there is still COVID going on. It says everywhere that things slow down because of COVID, There's sometimes more important matters to take care of first, which I understand. But that still leaves me with the struggle that things are really slow here. And I feel I'm doing a lot. I'm on the phone all the time. I'm sending emails, and although I do get a response, I feel like nothing really gets done. So yeah, sorry, I have this struggle a little bit, and I do feel maybe it is, at the very beginning when you just move here and you want to get a lot of things done. I mean, I love to be efficient, but if I don't get a solution, I feel very unsatisfied and I consider it as a struggle. But yeah, my second struggle is actually quite related to the first one. And that is your life depends on one number, the Swedish identity number. I'm quite glad that I still have a lot of things set up in the UK. For example, I still have my bank account in the UK, which is really needed because you just can't come here and open up a bank account. I also have actually Revolut set up before I came here, so that actually helps to make the transition smoothly and I don't have to pay so many fees. So it works quite well, to be honest. But yeah, so many of you recommended, get bank ID, get Swish, and I'm really excited about it, to get it. But I can't really do anything with my Personnummer. And one of the things which is also quite painful is the kindergarten. I know that you don't really pay much here for kindergarten, and that's probably for a reason. And not everyone can just jump onto a kindergarten and get a spot. In the UK, it's a bit different, but of course you pay quite a lot. But you just sign up, you have a look at the kindergarten, and then you sign up, and everything is sorted, and you can just start sending your child to kindergarten. Here, It's so complicated. I know they say it's up till 3 months you have to wait. But yeah, if you come here and your mind is a little bit more open and you think like you can just work anywhere in the world, yeah, I feel like you have to plan a little bit ahead and being aware of this. I was aware of this, by the way. I did look into it. But reality sometimes looks a little bit more complicated or can be just different. And I've been trying to work only half my days I normally do, and we still don't have a kindergarten spot. So for me, I'm getting a little bit nervous. It's probably better if only one person has a job here and the other person looks after the child, gets a kindergarten spot, and then gets another job. But yeah, we didn't do that, and here we are still waiting for our Swedish identity number. But on top of that, we actually did hire a relocation consultant. So I have not heard of that. I was not aware that it's actually a possibility. But we went this route to see if we can get anywhere with someone who is an expert. So if you're moving to a country, either be super prepared how long things can take, and especially your Swedish identity number. Hopefully you might not need it in the next kind of month. So have a bank account in your home country, for example, and arrange, with Revolut or TransferWise, or there are a few kind of banks out there where you don't really pay fees, and maybe arrange that maybe one of you doesn't work at the beginning and just has a bit more time to look for a job. I mean, that really applies if you have children, to be honest. And this struggle is certainly something Swedish people don't have, because they get their Swedish identity number when they are born. But I did read somewhere that you maybe have to reapply for your Swedish identity number if you moved abroad and then coming back. And the last struggle I actually wanted to talk about is housing. I mean, housing, I was really aware of this issue because I'm following Facebook groups and also had a look in forums. Everyone was saying it's so hard to get an apartment or a house in Sweden, well, especially in Stockholm. Obviously, I live in Stockholm now. And it can be very expensive as well. The best thing here to do is really to buy an apartment or a house. But as a foreigner, when you just moved here, it's really hard to get a mortgage straight away. You don't really have a record in Sweden. So that's really hard, and only if you really have cash, then it might be possible. And then outside of Stockholm, it's probably more affordable. But then again, it also depends where you work, Not everyone can really afford to live outside of Stockholm in terms of like really further away because they have work in Stockholm. But yeah, I'm German, and buying a house in Germany is really not common. So for a long time I was like not very up to buying a house actually anywhere in the UK or somewhere else. But having lived in the UK 10 years, everyone was very crazy about buying actually an apartment because it increases in value. Plus it was actually cheaper to pay off monthly the mortgage rather than paying monthly rent. So yeah, and here in Stockholm, it is also quite expensive as a foreigner to rent an apartment. I think you can be quite clever about it. It really depends what you're looking for, and it also depends where you're coming from. I feel a little bit more relaxed about it because London was so expensive. So here we kind of pay the same, but we get a much bigger house, with a huge garden. I will do a house tour very soon when we have moved, so you know what I'm talking about. But I also feel like we went for something really nice rather than practical. I think you can get something cheaper, but in general it is quite expensive to rent here in Stockholm, especially in the very center. I will definitely make another video about housing to explain a little bit more how it works for people who are moving here, but I know Swedish people know the best. I think there are two main options for Swedish people. They are on a list to get housing, which is relatively cheap, but even in the comments, people said that buying really is the cheapest if you look at it monthly and also the increase of value. But yeah, you have the list where you can put yourself on, but for foreigners, it's not really working because it can take years and years. So if you move here and you want to find something immediately, this is not for you. And then on the other side, which is also not that expensive, is actually to buy a house. Of course, house prices in Stockholm are also very expensive at the moment due to COVID. I'm recording this in July 2021, so this is where we are at the moment. so hopefully it gets a little bit better. But yeah, this is housing in Sweden. It's not that easy. Or let's say in Stockholm. Sorry, I always say Sweden, but it might be a little bit different in the rest of Sweden. And obviously my expertise is more in Stockholm. So yeah, if someone asks me, is housing expensive in Stockholm? I would say yes and no, because it really depends where you want to live, what kind of apartment you want to have, and where you're coming from. So what's your relation? How much have you paid in your home country? For example, in London, it is definitely not more expensive, but yeah, maybe if you come from Germany, it could be more expensive. So just bear that in mind and consider that when you want to move, for example. So yeah, these were my 3 struggles at the very beginning of my journey here in Sweden, and everything is quite in, limbo at the moment. There are no solutions as of yet, so I will probably make another video to explain a little bit more the whole process once it is solved and how long it takes and all that kind of jazz. But thanks so much for watching this video, especially to the end, and I hope I will see you soon again. Have a nice day and stay safe. Hey do!